you like to show up daily to your art and or drawing practice, be more experimental, expressive, and really get to know your visual language? If you take 15 minutes a day, I promise you'll get closer to your marks, your colors, your expressions. And it's all starting by choosing to show up 15 minutes or less. And that is the key to prolonging the practice and moving into the larger work. Sometimes when we say show up daily, we think we have to be making this extravagant thing. And that's really just not how it works anyway. So when we build slowly over time, that's where the growth is going to come from. But you can only have the growth by showing up to the moment, which gives you the momentum to keep going forward. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through my tiny sketchbook and give you some advice and tips and ideas about how showing up daily for 15 minutes or less is going to start to get you going and move you forward and get you into that creative flow. So let's get started. So like I said in the intro video, you can show up daily and it can be minimal. And when you're showing up daily to your mark making, art practice, creative practice, whatever you're doing, you can think small. It doesn't have to be this extravagant thing. Actually, what you want to be happening is developing, small, incremental ideas over time that are going to lead to the bigger idea. So by showing up daily, even if it's like a little, like 15 minutes or less in this practice with mark making, you're going to have an experience. And also, if you're not really an artist, I recommend this practice for everyone because it's about exploring your inner terrain, your inner world, your inner landscape, connecting with everything, how you're feeling, your emotion, and orientating yourself. Like, creativity is about orientation. It's about engaging with the world. It's about engaging all your senses, including your sixth sense. And that's why it's so important for everyone. But that's just my personal bias. But it doesn't have to be much. And that's what I want to stress. And especially in this kind of practice, and you're only gonna discover more of yourself over time when you show up daily. And that's like for anything, any activity really. The scary thing is, when we engage these practices, they bring up things. But the rewarding thing is when it's brought to light, you can like see what's there. You can see like what you don't like, and you can see what you love, and you get more comfortable with finding your voice and finding your marks and finding your expression. So, and this is just a small sketchbook of ideas. And also, if you're an artist and you're going to scale up, working small is actually a good way to eventually scale, even though that sounds counterintuitive. But you're constantly investigating the energy, the emotion, the mark, the visual language. And when you go to scale, it's going to take more, everything, but you're gonna be more primed internally to make those moves because you've worked every day to discover what you love. And there's gonna be less hesitation. Of course, there's always resting moments, and there's always listening moments, and there's always maybe a silence within the practice. So it's about learning all of those awarenesses It really is. And it's different every day, right? And that's the other interesting thing. When you record something daily, and you can even start writing alongside of it, which is really going to give you a deep insight into what's going on. You can look back and realize, whoa, I really had this breakthrough here, or I was really holding on to that there. You know, you could start to look back through and have the history. And I work in the sketchbooks, but sometimes I get mad at them, so I also recommend working on loose paper, just because, especially if you're a quick worker, or don't just use these more for, these are more drying anyway, so maybe don't use paint, and then that will make it faster. But I have a tendency to want to use everything. And that's just the way I work. I don't know. I don't like turn that away because I know myself and I just know what I love. You know, it's important to like digest what people say and think about it, but then always dial it back to what you really love and let go of all the other things. Because you really get confused if you don't stay your own course. I mean, I'm just speaking from personal experience. So I'm walking you through this, and then I'll create a couple of pages so you get the idea of what I'm talking about. And it's different every day, like I already said. But you're building this language, and you're not only are you building the language, you're building the connection. And that's important because there's an energy and an emotion that's going to rise in this mark making process. And it doesn't have to make sense. Often it doesn't really make sense. I mean, you could try to define what this is, but it was just this morning, actually, the moment that came out, and you know, feels great. and to explore and experiment and express what maybe sometimes is intangible in words, or you're feeling, you know, I've been having a really hard time this whole year, and December is like winding down, so it's putting me in this weird place. So I just went in with the mark making and let it come out, you know, and we can try to interpret it if we wanted to, but we don't have to. And that's the beauty of art making, you know. Although I love words because words offer us a gateway in, and poetry and songs and all of that. And I'm talking, I need words. I can't just show you this, you know. And you want to be able to define it for yourself. You want to be able to articulate and write about it and speak about it. And that the only way actually is doing the work here, and then you're going to get more language actually from the mark making. And that's what I found. And I'm going to explain that in videos as we go on here on this channel, because it's really interesting to me, and there's really like this bridge. I can see the way it connects, and that's exciting to me. So I'm gonna make a couple of pages now and just show you what I mean. And what happened was I was cleaning the studio, and actually this is how the video came, because I found this book. I hadn't touched it in a while, you know. That's just how things happen. And you can always like return to the moment too, and that's great, you know. So I have some scraps, and I have some, you know, just random. You don't even need much for this, you know. Grab some random, this is all like broken things, leftover things. Grab whatever you have. Grab some paints. It doesn't have to be serious, you know, because you're just give yourself 15 minutes or less. Because not only are you doing that every day, so you're going to be able to build in the time, you're going to make a habit. You're going to be able to build off of that as you go. And also, working quickly, you're going to get, like, less precious. And you're going to start to learn how to leave it alone. And that's going to eventually enable you to trust yourself when you're in a larger work, when to stop. All that stuff that people externally always seek the answer for. Really, you can only dictate that for yourself, but you have to be able to build a relationship with yourself. It's like this intimacy and trust. And sometimes there's a lot of fear in that. Actually, all the time, I think. Anyway. So all I'm really going to do is... Oh, oops, I forgot this page. I did these 2 pages this morning when I found the book because I was excited. Oh, this is a note. You're going to fail. No one... that could be a whole nother video. But it's about getting comfortable with that idea. So then when we are up against a wall, internally or whatever, we can really just... try to reorientate ourselves from that position. So, one thing I would recommend is I probably use too much paint. You could use a little paint and then it will dry faster. So this is just a Sharpie. So I'm really just like, ooh, what is exciting or what feels good? And I've been using a lot more just marker and pen. I really love just a ballpoint pen. It's silly, but it's simple. And it just it feels good to me. So I use that. This is aqua. Sometimes I'm gonna follow off of this movement and then make the next movement. Not always, but it might just inform you. So here's the scraps that I was cleaning up. And I'm like, oh, that could be interesting there. So we'll just glue it in there. It's not much. This isn't really much. This is just taking the time to, you could even do this within 15 minutes or less, 5 minutes probably. Really. You don't have to make it so serious, right? Because it's like an exploration. And you could start learning how to trust your intuition by grabbing what's around you and just building the relationship with yourself. A lot of people talk about how do you compose a picture, which I'll get into that more going forward too, but how do you compose it within yourself, and how do you redirect it back? Because that to me is where the energy and the emotionality is coming from, and it's just the way I see it. I'm not saying this is the one answer, but it's an idea. So it also is kind of it's a good way to clean up your scraps. But what you're doing here is you're engaging the muscle memory, the emotionality of the day. And of course you can always work bigger in the same way, but what I was trying to stress across is this is just 6 inches by 6 inches, so it's small, so that is easy to digest, right? So you want to, if you think showing up daily is like not a possibility, well, it is, and just start small. And and like maybe this feels like nothing, but over time you're gonna start to see stuff emerge, and that's gonna translate. It will. You might, and there might be like a learning curve to translating that. But there's always a learning curve to all of this. Even when you think you know, you probably don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, and you kind of want to stay in that place, because then that's when all the surprises can happen. Life can give you more interesting things. You're always inspired by yourself too. Like it's like you're the person creating it and generating the energy and the momentum for it all. And then you can transfer that idea into anything you really want to be doing, It's a transferable idea. So maybe I'll do another one since it is so small. And I'm enjoying myself. And, I just, that feels good, like that archy movement. And just paying attention to that. And eventually, though, it probably becomes more autopilot. Just because when you do it enough, you'll have less hesitation. That's why repetition is really important in this. Well, in anything you're doing when you're learning. And you can be your own best teacher, really. So it's just kind of flowing and using what's around you, and not really maybe, you're not holding on to much here. I'm pretty much just using the same, palette to, I don't know. And a lot of people will talk about limitations. Limitations kind of come from just choosing what's around you in an intuitive sense. And like you'll have the tendency to probably just keep going towards what you love. And then that becomes an automatic habit over time. Which is really cool. Because then sometimes that takes the pressure off, This is just the ballpoint pen again. So allowing yourself to explore the movement, even how you hold the material, like hold it looser or hold it tighter, and you want to feel that release and that opening, and that's something that you can apply into painting as well. Ooh. So it's about like just having the moment and not being precious at all, really. Letting go and opening up and having an experience. And it doesn't take that much time to give yourself an experience. I really like what's going on here. And when you build this over time, that you're going to start to see it come through in other ways, and the connections will automatically start to appear. Just you have to stay with it, right? And you have to choose to just make it a habit. Carve out the time, because you're worth it. And let yourself just explore the possibility of opening up to a moment. So I hope walking through my little tiny sketchbook gave you some excitement and incentive to start your practice today. You don't have to wait. You don't even have to be wanting to be a professional artist in order to take this step and move into an expressive and experimental drawing practice. That's what's exciting. It's available to you. If you have a piece of paper, if you have a pen, voila. But of course we can always expand upon that, and that's what we're doing. But it's all about a choice, and it's all about deciding to show up to the moment, right? So if you're feeling blocked and you're stuck in fear, I help people come back into their authentic expressions, not just in art but in life, and we work with energy, emotions, and diving deeper one-to-one. And if you're interested in personal one-to-one coaching, just check out the information in the bio. I am available for that. Sometimes we do need the extra hand, the extra push forward, and that's what it's all about. And if you're new here, consider subscribing, liking the channel, all that good stuff, because it's all about the expressive nature of being and showing up to the moment and seeing how deep we can dive together. And when we really dive deep and get through the stuff, we can really come alive in all our expressions, not just in art but in life. And that's exciting, because then you'll put yourself on a whole new trajectory and you'll realize over time that it was always up to you. Thank you for being here. And let me know in the comments below if you started one of these small sketchbooks or just 15 minutes a day. Of course, it can be on any way you want it. This is just an idea because it's small, and start small and move up.